Hello and welcome to our video contemplation of day signature 58. This frequency corresponds to the Princess of Hearts, the prime instinct to expand, and the noble role of reverence. It is represented by the angels of transformation and vitality.
So our two angels today are the 36th angel of transformation, who walks the pathway of experience to become the embodiment of gentleness. And then we have the 58th angel of vitality, who walks the pathway of engagement to become the embodiment of the wellspring.
Yep. So we have quite a lot happening today. Right out the gate, we can share with you that this is a very special day for us for a number of reasons.
Personal Vortex Day?
Personal Vortex Day times 2. The first is the one that we get to share. The frequency of 58 is the exact same frequency as the word brainers. So we've seen ourselves in this frequency for some time now. In fact, another exact match to the frequency of 58 is the word turquoise. The mineral ally, not alloy. Turquoise is an exact match, and that's significant because our wedding bands are made of turquoise. So we see ourselves in this frequency of 58, have for some time. It's our personal vortex day. But the 58 is also my star frequency. So already in this day, I'm witnessing how this frequency has been just waiting to instruct me. It's waiting for my attention. And I've been so focused on so many of these other structural facets of this work, the video content, the website, all the building, that I haven't had the opportunity up until this point to really bear down and spend time with, dig my teeth into the 58 in all the ways that I might like to. I haven't even had the time to contemplate it to the extent that Lara has been able to contemplate hers. So today's a really special day for me because not only do I get to spend the day in this aura of the 58, but I get to meet it in a very personal way.
Yeah, and just to remind people that the star frequency correlates to the statement, I am plus your first name. So I am Timothy is your star frequency, and that's one of the frequencies that you'll find in our frequency portal.
It's the very first frequency you'll find in the signature edition of our frequency portal. It's where it all begins, with taking ownership of your own self, your own story. You realize that you are the star of your own story. That's what the star frequency is. And so already it's been quite amazing to visit these words and to learn through these angels, even just in the short few hours of this morning that we've lived up until this point. We're really excited to see what comes up in this conversation as I take it personally for myself and we take it personally for us. But we're also excited to see what this day's signature has to say for all of us, what it's calling out of us, celebrating within us. So we begin with the Princess of Hearts, I suppose is the best place to begin. We've met the princess once before in these video conversations, I believe. It would have been the Princess of Wands. We were not yet recording these when we met the Princess of Swords, but we'll find her again down the line. We've learned by now that the princess has certain keynotes.
Yes. Yeah, so her main keynote is actually grace. But we also strongly tie the concept of transformation to the princess as well. Actually, both the prince and princess, which is perfect with these angel connections because she's actually correlated to this 36th angel of transformation.
The princess is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, here she is. Right. And so this is the angel of transformation, theme of transformation. I got it. I'm like, wow, where'd that come from? That's new. I get it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we enjoy the feeling of the princess because the princess is innocent. She is completely free of concern. Whatever this transformation that's possible for her is, it comes from a place that's totally uncontested. It's totally free, totally liberated. It's a transformation that happens, not a transformation that's earned.
Right.
And it's possible specifically because of the safety and security that she experiences in the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
She's not the queen. She's not the king. She's not managing or maintaining the kingdom. She's the one the whole kingdom is for. She's the one that it protects. And she knows this, and she delights in it, and she feels this sense of wonder over that, knowing that she has no real responsibility but to enjoy this gift of the kingdom she's been given.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we say this when we speak in these metaphors. We like to remind you that it's a metaphor of something true about you right now. The queen, the king, the knight, the princess, the prince, all of these are inside of you. What we see here is an invitation to relax and recognize that everything that's happening around you is happening for you, and you're responsible in no way for organizing all of those affairs. You're responsible for savoring the benefit of them.
Mm-hmm. Being immersed in the experience.
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. That's pivotal for today's conversation. You get to be that delighted by your life. You woke up. You woke up today. There's no guarantee of that when you go to sleep, and yet every day you wake and you meet the new day as the fresh surprise that it is, or you trick yourself into thinking that it's the same humdrum affair that it's always been, and that it's heavy and long and laborious and fleeting in the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we get to choose which story we're telling. What the princess reminds us of is that regardless of what story we tell, we're given the opportunity to tell the story. We're given the opportunity to be awake and alive and to meet that experience as a living, moving, breathing, evolving thing. We love the princess for this.
Mm-hmm.
She brings such delight, such innocence, and such an inherent sense of grace to everything.
Yeah.
She floats through life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she gives herself this spaciousness to be able to actually reflect and experience that reverence for life.
Yeah, that's right. So we get to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're being called and invited to do. And of course, this is the Princess of Hearts. I told you this earlier, and I'll repeat it again here for all of you. I personally believe that this member of the tarot is the sweetest member of the tarot. If you look at the full sweep from swords to wands to hearts to diamonds, and you consider all of the different archetypes that play out along the way, I can't help but sense in this Princess of Hearts the most tender, the most gentle, the most heartwarming sweetness of any of the other members. You may recall that a lot of the moments we've arrived at along the way have been very focused. They've even in some cases been very demanding. There's a lot of energy and concentration in these cards and in these different members of the tarot. And we arrive at the hearts and everything starts to begin to soften up quite a lot. And of the hearts, this is the core of the heart. That's what it feels like to me, like the softest, most tender part of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Princess of Hearts. There's a flavor about this day, about this member of the tarot.
Mm-hmm. I think you can really see it in the word matches to this frequency of 58.
Okay.
Some of them include I choose to be in joy, sparkle,
Wow.
you are radiant, sun glow, sunshine, triumph, the
Wow.
word reverence, poet's eyes, happy poet, absolutely good,
Yeah.
and the angel of feeling.
Oh, yeah. So this was kind of interesting. Angel of Cups and Angel of Feeling are both frequency matches. Those phrases are frequency matches to the 58. The Angel of Cups would be equivalent to the Angel of Hearts because the cups have elevated to become this set of virtues we refer to as the hearts. So the Angel of Feeling, this was the original word, one of the original words that we were exploring as the very essence of the hearts. We worked with feeling, we worked with love, and what we ultimately ended up with in the Angel of Hearts is affection, but it carries that same tenderness, that same softness, that same heart-centered emphasis. The word emphasis is another 58, I believe, that we initially sensed in the essence of these hearts. And now, of course, we find it in the frequency of this character, the Princess of Hearts. So we find ourselves kind of breathing into this signature today. It feels soft. It feels spacious. That space is a result of the softening, because when we soften, we open. That's a part of what's happening here. That's what we've been told. When you relax, you soften. And when you soften, you open. And as you open, you become available to receive. So this is the theme we work with today. We want to be able to feel into that, to sense that softening and opening of the heart. And of course, that brings us to both the prime instinct to expand and the noble role of reverence. The role that this princess serves is one of complete reverence. Reverence is what we like to think of as every possible variation on the theme of wow. When you truly allow yourself to recognize how little control you actually have and how much grace you've actually been given, you have no excuse but to walk around your life in amazement, in awe. There's nothing more appropriate or more honorable than to meet your life with eyes wide open in the sense of wonder that just pours that reverence right back into life. That's the point. It's why we're conscious.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's even a step beyond appreciation, which is another word that we really like to use. That's a step beyond even gratitude.
Yes.
It's much more engaged and active, and that is exactly what, again, this 58th angel is talking about with this pathway of engagement. It's a much more engaged form of gratitude.
You're 100% right. And I think what this does is it defines what we mean by the word reverence. Reverence is not just being in awe, it's response to that awesome experience. What is that response? The only appropriate response to any gift, as we learned yesterday or the day before, whenever that was, is to say, yes, please, and thank you. It's to receive and to savor, to enjoy the gift. We have what we refer to as the Prayer of Amazement. We've been taught this Prayer of Amazement. And I fully intended to bring it up 2 days ago when we met the 56th angel as it walked this pathway of enjoyment, because it was the 56th angel of enrichment that spoke to this. As it closed its session, it told me in particular to live in the prayer of amazement. Is what it said. Live in the prayer of amazement. Well, the prayer of amazement is very simple. We've shared it with you before in these conversations. We will continue to do so frequently. The prayer of amazement is, thank you, I love you. That's all. Thank you, I love you. The thank you is the receptivity. The I love you is the response. Do you see the way this moves? Yeah, go on.
Well,
you see it.
As soon as you said that, I was reminded of the prime instinct to expand, which comes from the 8th prime, which is symbiosis.
Symbiosis.
Yeah.
That's free energy. That's a perpetual response system where my response to you ignites a response in you, which ignites a response in me. And not only are we now connected in this beautifully intimate fashion of exchange, but the quality of that exchange grows. It's not only free energy that sustains itself, it's perpetual energy that generates more. It expands. That's what this prime instinct is about. And of course, that's why it's held in the 8th prime of this liberated tarot. The number 8 itself, that figure 8 pattern, is representative of what we're describing here. So thank you, I love you is how we claim ownership of our inheritance, our birthright, the gift, which is life. And it's how we pour our whole hearts back into it. It's not thank you, what can I do to pay you back? It's not thank you, how much do I owe you? It's thank you, I love you. It's thank you, I enjoy this. I am delighted.
Mm-hmm.
That delight, that enjoyment, that innocent response system is the giving back that is of the highest value to life, because that's the quality of exchange that is needed in order for life to expand. So there's a powerful knot connecting this theme of expansion and this theme of reverence. In fact, I would go so far as to say that you do not get to expand void of this capacity for reverent engagement. Expansion doesn't happen under those conditions. Exploitation does. If you're not capable of graciously, deliciously, wholly receiving and enjoying what's been given, you're not giving anything back. You're simply taking. This is what we see around us in the world at large. It is not what we're describing here. We're talking about a wholehearted engagement that naturally and inherently pours itself back into the gift giver. So we all become simultaneously the gift receiver and the gift giver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So these are big, big, beautiful, powerful words. Connecting them to the Prayer of Amazement, I was looking for the opportunity to do this. I'll be honest. It revealed itself unavoidably, and so here we are. But I want each of you to hear this over and over again, and to consider when you leave this recording what it might mean for you to meet your own life in this way, to meet every circumstance as an opportunity, knowing that everything that happens for you, even if it's uncomfortable, knowing that every experience is meant to soften you, as we're going to talk about in a moment, and treating every moment of your experience as a cause for celebration,
Mm-hmm.
as a good reason to say, oh, thank you, I love you. Also consider what it might mean to face those challenging areas of your experience, those scary parts of life, with that quality of poetic intent. Happy poet, poet's eyes, these sort of things that we find in this day's frequency. That's what this is about. It's about the effective seer knowing that when we choose to meet life this clearly, this wholeheartedly, this innocently, life gives back as we give back to life. There's your symbiosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This graciously as well, I thought, when you were saying that.
Because that's the princess with her grace.
Yes.
So, yum.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this, of course, is going to tie into the angels. So, the two angels. The 36th angel of transformation walks the pathway of experience to become the embodiment of gentleness. We've met this angel once before.
Yeah.
I think it was our second recording, our second video contemplation.
Mm-hmm. That's because these angels actually show up in more than one place in the Liberated Tarot, because we have two angels for each tarot figure. Mm-hmm. So we actually have a codex that, you can see where they are
in relation to one another.
Yes.
The crystalline codex revealed something technically amazing, something we're not going to get into the technicality of in this conversation necessarily, but it's what we've called the angel interlock, where there are essentially two bands of these angel interactions wrapping the full sequence of 86 tarot cards, so that every single tarot card is represented by two distinct angels. The angels never overlap. In other words, you're never going to get two of the same angels in one position. And they are now, as a result of this, allowed to repeat in more than one case, so that you have unique pairings of angels specially associated with particular members of the tarot. Mm-hmm. None of that had anything to do with us. We are not that smart. We were sensitive enough to recognize that there was something happening, and we were persistent enough to find it, but we didn't make this up. So what Laura is referring to is the angel interlock. That 36 showed up for us once before, and it's back. Mm-hmm. It's back here because it's meant to be seen here. This theme of transformation we've already connected to kind of an underlying keynote that we connect to the prince and the princess of any suit. But it's this pathway of experience that to me is very significant in the day.
And the word experience is also a frequency match to 58.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, we were very surprised to find almost all of these words in the frequency of 58. And again, just so you understand our process, we didn't choose them because of that. The only one that we actually connected to the 58 was this noble role reverence. All of these other words that we're coming upon today, words, ideas, phrases, all of that is a surprise to us. Really yummy surprise, a really confirming surprise. So we like being able to share that, because I've come upon the situation in the past with the sort of systems that life has brought to life through me, where someone who really enjoys and respects and values what's been built will say, wow, you must be so special. I wish that were like, I wish I could do that. And I always think, well, yeah, I mean, I'm special in the same way we all are. And of course you can do that for your own thing, for your own world, in your own way. So we like to kind of open the window into our own experience, share this with you, so that you never feel in any way inferior to what you're witnessing here. We want you to feel included in what you're witnessing here. We want you to know that we are all on a level, working together to unravel these mysteries, but most of all, to permit this enjoyment that is the fundamental birthright for us all. Yeah. Okay, so this word transformation, I can't help but consider that true transformation, like expansion, is impossible void of reverence. That sustaining transformation, the kind of transformation you want, is a function of that reverence as well. I feel like as we learn about these angels and their words today, they're all going to come back to this primary hub, so to speak, this primary theme of reverence. We see that here. Experience. Let's talk about the pathway of experience. I think in order to understand the pathway of experience, it's very important to connect it to the pathway of engagement. Yeah. Experience and engagement. You don't get to benefit from the experience in the way that you deserve to unless you are wholeheartedly engaged.
Right.
I think downstairs, speaking of experience, I think our AirPod or HomePod or whatever, like Siri's talking.
Yeah, I can hear Siri talking downstairs.
She's down there talking away to someone who isn't us. So we'll just let her have her own experience while we have ours. Experience and engagement. Experience demands engagement. That's the point of experience. It's the point of existence in bodies. We come here to meet something directly. That's what experience is. And as long as you're here alive in this body, you cannot help but have the experience. The question is, what will come of that experience? How much of yourself are you willing to offer over to that experience? Understanding that the more of yourself you give, the more richness and the more benefit you receive. So there's a connection here too. It's all about quality when it comes to experience, not quantity. A lot of people kind of skirt the surface of life in search of a lot of different experiences, or hiding from experience so that they can have the least amount of experience because they think that will impact in one direction or another the quality of their experience. But that's not at all what we're finding here in the angels. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. What is the quality of your experience? If it is reverential, if it is empowered, if it is enjoyable and pleasant and exciting and involved, if you're fully engaged, you're going to have a much better quality of experience than if you are rushing, hurried, if there's a sense of urgency or anxiety, if there's fear. These sort of things not only distract us from the experience, but distance us from the inner experience of that outer experience, the feeling, the richness. Right. So experience and engagement go together, and we're called to engage totally. Vitality and reverence, to my eye, again, connect. You don't get vitality and you don't get engagement, true engagement. This is an important point. You don't ever get to fully engage or express the vitality that comes of that unless you are in that state of complete reverence. Because if you're not in a state of complete trust, complete assurance, complete enjoyment, and thereby complete reverence, then you're moving through experience fearfully. If there's even, we talked about this yesterday or the day before, if there's even 1% of fear in the experience, that fear is distancing you from its benefit. The only way to engage totally is to know that it's safe to engage totally. Otherwise, you'll be guarding against the potential of a detriment. Isn't that wild? And how much of our experience have we met so completely?
Yeah, and I can also see when we maybe come at an experience with the sense of obligation, instead of purposefully, changing our perspective to look at that experience reverentially. If it's obligatory, then you're depleting your vital energy. This angel of vitality is really showing us that vitality, this wellspring of vitality, is accessible, or, it's always there for you, but you can deplete that if your perspective on life, on experience, is one where you feel like you have to do it, and it's as simple as changing your perspective on it, because you could be doing anything, you could be having any kind of experience, and it's all about this shift in perspective and understanding that everything is there for us, everything is there for us to see in this particular lens. So that's sort of the key that unlocks this vital energy.
I would absolutely agree with that. That's beautifully stated. It reminds me of a question I was kind of hearing in my mind in the lead up to this conversation. I didn't know if it would become relevant or not, but I was imagining myself on the other side of this exchange and asking the question of, yeah, but what if the experience is deeply uncomfortable or deeply unwanted? What if it's a nightmare? You're telling us to enjoy. What if I have to do something that is not enjoyable? What about those moments of obligation or expectation where, the bills have to get paid, or you have to, have that conversation with the tax man, or whatever it is, like these things in life that we worry about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a very significant question.
Absolutely.
The what if question. You can share what you have. I've got a response that's been congealing over the course of the morning, but I'd love to hear what you noticed right out the gate.
Yeah, I think right out the gate, I noticed that the being in that position where you feel like you haven't arrived yet, or you're not where you want to be, it's kind of like the princess herself. She's still young. She is, she knows that she's going to be gaining all of this experience. She knows that one day she's going to become
the queen. Yeah, that's right.
So this is where it's really, really key to be mindful of our perspective on where we are now. And I think that when we understand that wherever we are now is perfect, if we can honor that, if we can honor that place, and see it as a stepping stone to something greater, and valuing every stepping stone along the way. If we invalidate where we are in that movement, then we can't grow to our full potential.
You're 100% right. Yeah. That's very well done. We hadn't talked about this in the lead up to the conversation, so whatever you're witnessing here is like spontaneous and unexpected and delicious. Yes. Experience is a flow. We have to remember ourselves in a process which never ends. This is not a process to attain. This is not about ambition. This is about living. This is about evolving. This is about expanding and never stopping. Remember that the process we're referring to is infinity itself, playing itself out through you, playing itself out through your experience and mine and Laura's and all of ours. This is how infinity moves to perpetually expand. That's amazing. So this pathway of experience, this is fundamental. I'm really happy that you saw that, because we would have missed it otherwise. Experience moves in a flow it's meant to. Yeah.
I can't take full credit. I'm pretty sure it came from a Bashar video. I happen to really love these little clips of Bashar, who is, I don't know how you would describe it, but a channel that I particularly enjoy his teachings. And this was actually something that I probably watched this morning that, of course, perfectly ties into what we're talking about now. So I never, I'm always kind of combing whatever happens to show up in my something as simple as an Instagram feed.
Oh, yeah.
But that's why I curate my Instagram feed to be really high quality.
Specific, yeah.
You know. So anyway, I do think it came from one of his videos that I watched this morning.
It's yours now, because it just came through you.
So beautifully to what we're talking about.
Yeah, okay. So I like that example because it shows how to listen. Mm-hmm. Really, you're not even listening, in this case, to Bashar or Instagram. You're listening to life, understanding that it will communicate through any number of sources. It'll communicate through literally everything you attend to. Mm-hmm. Truly, literally. Yes. Food, clothing, Instagram. Doesn't matter. Anything at all can mean as much as you will allow it to. I love that. Yeah. It's a part of the experience. Yes. It's a part of knowing that you're not alone in the experience. That you are being guided and you are engaged in a dialogue. But again, a dialogue, like experience, is only a dialogue if there are two parties. If you know that you are in a dialogue and you involve yourself in that dialogue. Mm-hmm. So life has been speaking all along, but if we haven't heard it, no dialogue, right? So that was beautiful.
Thanks.
What I'm seeing on the subject is not so dissimilar in that it deals with a process, metaphorically. And I'm going to do my best to share what I'm seeing. Okay. It's one of these things where it's developing. Mm-hmm. If it's meant to come out in full form here, awesome. If it continues to develop, we'll return to it. But the question is, what about the experiences I don't like? What about the things I don't want to do but need to because life, sort of thing? What I see is like the world's most famous roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And everyone wants to ride this roller coaster. There will be some of you who love roller coasters, some of you who hate roller coasters, but bear with the example. You wait to get on this roller coaster for ages, hours, a day. Like, it's amazing how long people will stand in line. I've done this before, 8 hours in a line to get on one ride. It's all you do in the day, but you got to have that experience, you know? Mm-hmm. I'm afraid of heights. The fact that I would end up on a roller coaster at all is pretty hilarious because it's the last place you would expect me to be. But there's this draw. There's this sense of like, I want to have this experience even though it intimidates me. Welcome to your life, right? The roller coaster, of course, is representative of your life. Inevitably, this roller coaster is going to have that one loop that just doesn't make sense to your brain. It terrifies you. Or that one long, slow chunk, 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 chunk incline to the highest position of this particular roller coaster, and you're like me, you're terrified of heights. So every second of that is just like, I am going to die, you know? I don't like this part. It's uncomfortable. This is different from the rest of my experience. I'm not supposed to be this high up in the air. I'm not supposed to be flipping upside down and spiraling and moving at 120 miles an hour strapped to this thing with a bunch of strangers. Like, that doesn't feel right. But I'm on this ride. Why? Because I wanted to be on this ride. I waited all this time to be on this ride. What you discover after the first time through is that, dang, that was an exhilarating ride. You were terrified at certain points. You were thrilled at other points. And the minute you get off, you're breathless with amazement, and you and all your friends are talking about this part and that part. And you just want to get right back in line and do it again, because you know the second time you're going to pick up on more nuance. It's going to be even more exhilarating, not less. This doesn't get more boring. It gets more interesting. And the parts that terrify you continue to terrify you until they don't. Right. What you realize is that there's no actual danger. What you're afraid of in heights is falling. You're not going to fall. You're strapped in. You realize there's no danger to this ride. Life is no different. The moment you become as assured as the night was yesterday, as completely secure as the princess is today, when you realize the kingdom is not going to fall to bits around you, that you're not going to end up homeless on the streets or cast into some dungeon somewhere, that there's no actual risk to your experience because everything you experience is meant to benefit and expand you. The moment you really understand that you are safe, you begin to enjoy the ride. Even the parts that previously felt like, I don't like this part. Even the parts you ran scared from, even the parts you withheld yourself from, up until now. You begin to open. What you find is that you relax. That's the softening. That's what experience lends. It's gentleness. We spent time with this embodiment. We couldn't find it for a period of time. We initially thought it was wisdom. I always thought experience yields wisdom. That's not wrong, but it's not the embodiment of this angel. The pathway of experience yields not just wisdom, but gentleness. The point of experience is to soften you.
Not harden you.
Right. You're not being scared to death by life. You are scared because of things you've believed about life. And the moment you see the truth about life, you inevitably release the fear. It vaporizes in the light of truth. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're not going to fall off the ride. It won't fall off the tracks. This is meant to be an exhilarating experience, which is why you waited for it. And it's the exact reason why you continue to return to it. This is infinity. Welcome to the roller coaster of infinity, expanding itself through direct experience, continually yielding a softer, more expanded center within which to experience that growth. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's a really good metaphor. In fact, it even ties into the 58th Angel of Vitality and the pathway of engagement, because what you're describing is, for example, if you're riding the ride for the first time and maybe you're like about to do the big...
Covering your eyes.
Yeah, you close your eyes. You close your eyes tightly.
Yeah.
But you go again and you feel more confident. You might actually engage with the experience. This pathway of engagement becomes open to you and you open your eyes.
Well, you become open to your life.
Yeah. Wow.
That's great. Okay. Then that came through exactly as I hoped it might. We found the words to tell the story, and that's what we're seeing in this day. I think central to today's signature is the word reverence, because it tells us what to do. It tells us how to be.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about this earlier, that reverence is not mental. It utilizes your conscious capacity to witness and knowingly engage with experience. But reverence is a feeling. Reverence is a response. Reverence is something that happens in your feet, in your gut, in your being. So it includes the mind, but extends beyond it to pour some part of your essence back into the life you're responding to. Reverence is central to this day's signature. And this theme of gentleness emerging as a result of experience, this theme of softening, this awareness that life is not meant to hurt you ever. It's not ever breaking you, but it will break you open. And it's breaking you open. It's giving you that opportunity to open your eyes so that you can thrill at the miraculous quality of the experience, so that you can take in more data, so that it can become richer. So there's more to talk about and more to to share. We talked about that as a prime instinct yesterday. All of these things are kind of feeding into one another. We can see that here. We can see how that works. So we have this symbiotic loop. We have the softening and the opening. And we have this wholehearted response that allows for us to fully engage with our experience, knowing that there is no harm, there is no risk. We just quoted the Angel of Enrichment today, telling you this very thing. Remember?
Oh, yeah. There is no risk to enjoyment, no cost, only gain.
Yeah, that's right. How's that?
Yeah. And I also think experience, no matter what it is, no matter what we perceive it to be on the surface, is always pointing us in the direction of who we truly are. So if our sense of ourselves is confused or unclear or small, any experience is only to expand us to the truth of who we truly are, which is so much more.
Yes. So life never defies the truth of who you are. Life will never stop defying the lies that have encased your true self. True self. Isn't true self or something like that?
Yeah. True self is also a 58, so matched to today's frequency.
Yeah. That's what life is constantly calling out of us. It's what these angels and these signatures are constantly celebrating in us. The point of these conversations is not to tell you how to fix or heal yourself. It's to tell you there's nothing to fix or heal, but you do have some ideas that would be that are worthy of release. because that underlying reality, which awaits your remembering, your awareness, that thing is guaranteed to rise up and meet life directly. Whether it happens right now in this minute or an hour from now or a day from now or in little pockets or never in this life but maybe the next one is irrelevant in the course of infinity. But if you're watching this, understand this. If you're one of the few in a world of billions who are watching this video, you're already far into what it is we're describing. You're already softening and opening. You've already found your way to something that is of a very rarefied form, a very high frequency. That's because you match it. That's because you've recognized the resonance between what it is we're saying and this deepest part, truest part of you. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect segue to the embodiment of the wellspring. Mm-hmm. Another one of these where we kind of scratch our heads over it. How do you explain it? You can feel it, but what is it? It's a wellspring of life. Mm-hmm. You become the wellspring of life. That vitality is expressed through you, and others watch you, your way of meeting life, your excitement to get back on the ride. They watch your eyes wide open and your fearless way of chattering excitedly as you're going up that massive hill rather than cringing as if you're going to die. They watch you acting so very differently from how they often feel, and they wonder how that could be possible. Mm-hmm. You become the wellspring of life. These videos are a perfect example of this. Laura and I have attempted to even discuss the idea of recording strategically for a long time, and I personally have attempted to for most of my adult life without any sustaining results. The moment we were able to harness everything the angels have taught us, I mean the moment, you were all a witness to it when we met the 34th day signature. We have not stopped for one day since, in a period of less than, 3 weeks, significantly less than 3 weeks. We had recorded well over 100 videos out of nowhere. Talk about vitality, talk about energy moving, talk about productive outpouring. It didn't cost us a thing. Mm-hmm. We felt for so long that there was some risk in it. There was so much insecurity, from every angle, until it was time to take that step. And we had waited in line, and now the gates opened, and it was our turn to walk onto that roller coaster and to put that, that belt or whatever it is, the guard down, or pull it down over our heads, depends on the one you're on.
Strap yourself in.
Strap yourself in, and off we went. And you're seeing the result of that. That's one example. The same thing plays out on every subject of every person's human experience. That's the point. What we're called to today is to meet it fully, to permit it to soften us and open us so that we can receive more of what life is constantly pouring into us, so that we can reverently, thankfully, graciously, enthusiastically respond by pouring it right back into life. That's reverence. Yeah. That's what we're called to do.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful day. It feels, that's a lot of big words. It's fairly dynamic, the metaphor. But again, the feeling for me is just like you could take a nap in it. Mm-hmm. Nesting is a beautiful word that we find in the 58. That's the sense of this for me. It's like crystal clear, totally safe, nothing to fear, enjoy. And the prayer of amazement. I don't know how to emphasize loudly or frequently enough how much this has come to mean for us, how perfectly it represents the exchange that we are describing, and how guaranteed it is to transform your experience if you will try it on for size in your own way. Live in the prayer of amazement. Thank you. I love you. Take that away as your homework today. Play with that. See what happens when you do. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Nope.
We did it.
Yeah.
We have successfully completed our contemplation of day signature 58. Thank you for joining us on another really, really special day for us personally. Any time we get to share these moments with you is profound for us. We've been doing this every day for as long as we've known one another. We've shared a lot between our hearts. We've learned a lot between our hearts, and that's been enough and more than enough. The fact that we now get to share it in the overflow of all that with you is a massive bonus, and it is not one we will ever take for granted. If you're watching this, you were meant to, and we feel you, and we're grateful for your presence, deeply grateful. We love that you're here with us.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for joining. We'll be back again tomorrow for yet another fresh surprise. In the meantime, thank you.
Yes,
we love you. We'll see you again really soon.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye for now.
Bye.